Hi everybody, this is Mr. Domney from St Ivor Academy and I'm the head of Year 11. In this short PowerPoint, I'm going to be talking through strategies for helping with organisation, study skills and homework. Okay, so first looking at this idea of organisation, and it's a word that gets thrown around a lot in terms of, you need to be more organised, you're Year 11. Hopefully what we can do in the next 3 or 4 slides is give you some tools or ideas which will enable you to do that so you can put your best foot forward and help yourself to be the biggest success possible. So first thing there, getting everything ready for school, it sounds very simple, but what do we actually mean by that? That involves your bag that you're bringing into school. Has that got all the books that you need for that day? Has it got any homework in it that's due? Have you put your PE kit in your bag? Have you weighed out your food tech ingredients and is that in your bag ready to go? Like I said, any outstanding homework that might be due in that day? Have you got your uniform ready for the following day? Is that laid out ready to go so you're not rushing around in the morning trying to find your black socks or your tie or your blazer or whatever it might be? If you get all that stuff sorted the night before, it means you can get up, you can have your breakfast, you can, do whatever you need to do in the morning if you go out and do a paper round or whatever it might be, and you've got everything ready and you're not panicking and you're not flustered in the morning, so you're in a calmer state of mind when you do come into school. Second thing, write down assignments in the same planner or place. Okay, so this could be in your independent home study area, which I'll go on to talk about a little bit later on. Is it that you regularly use Go for Schools and you tick off the homework tasks that you've done so you know what work you have outstanding? If you keep that in the same consistent place, nothing's going to slip through the net and you're not going to get caught out because you've missed something. Check your locker. Now, lots of Year 11 students do have lockers around the school site. Just making sure that that is checked at the end of each day so you know that you're taking home everything that you need to. Because the last thing we want is, let's say you get a piece of homework period 1, at break time, you go and put that book in your locker and you forget to take it home and you therefore can't do that homework that evening. Okay, so just make sure that you're being proactive in that, checking your locker, make sure that you're set up, ready to do your independent learning, but when it comes to the evening. The last one, take the advice that's given to you. I'm talking more here from a member of staff perspective. We will come on to talk about advice from kind of parents and carers a bit later on. But taking the advice that's given to you from a member of staff, that's because there's a very, very high chance that a member of staff will have been teaching this exam course for a number of years. They've helped students revise for the exam. They've helped students be successful on their GCSE program. So if they explain, start revision in this way, or look at this topic first, or whatever it might be, take their advice. We've got your best interest at heart, and we want what's best for you. So we're not just telling you that because we're making it up. We're telling you that because we think it is generally a good thing for you to do. So please take that advice that staff give you. Okay, moving on. So only bring into school what you need. Again, very self-explanatory. Make sure that your school bag's only got things that you need for school at that day. Okay, not anything that you don't need. The last thing we want is textbooks, resources, school equipment getting broken, damaged, creased, scrunched up, broken, ripped, whatever, within your school bag just because you have too much stuff in there. Only bring to school the things that you know you need for that day. Everything else just leave at home. Okay. Keeping organised at home. So by that I mean keeping all your home study materials in your independent study spot. So that's any textbooks, revision guides, whatever you may have at home, but it's also your stationery equipment. So paper, pencils, calculator, whatever that may be. Just so you know that when you get home, you get into that independent study space, you're ready to start your independent learning. On this idea of independent learning, we're looking at creating an independent learning schedule and sticking to it. Now, there's a wide range of hobbies and interests across the year group, which is absolutely fantastic. Some people may have music class, dance class, sports club, some kind of activity across an evening, okay, throughout the week. But what you need to make sure you're doing is you are allowing yourself time to complete your homework. Now schedule that in. So let's say you get home at 3:30, give yourself till 4 o'clock to have a drink, have a bite to eat, catch up with whoever's at home. But then at 4 o'clock until dinner time at, let's say, 5:30, you set that time aside to ensure that you get your homework done. You can then have your dinner, and then if from 5:30 until 6, should we say, and then you're ready to get ready for football training at 6:30. So make sure you actually create a schedule throughout the week so you factor in your commitments, your hobbies, your interests, allowing yourself time to relax as well, but also making sure that you're giving yourself plenty of time to get your independent learning done in terms of homework, tasks and revision. When we start our independent studying at home, my advice would be to do the hardest assignment first and save the easiest for last. If you do the hardest one first, it's out of the way. When you've got the most motivation, you're the most alert, you're feeling the freshest, you're not tired, or kind of fed up with the with the homework process for that evening. Okay, so make sure you get that hardest assignment done first, and you're saving the easiest one for last. If you do get to the point where you are doing your independent learning and you get sleepy, tired or whatever, or you can't concentrate, get up and take a break, move around, get a snack, go and have a glass of water, go and have 5 minutes, speaking to whoever's at home. Make sure it is just 5 minutes. Just give yourself that break, then come back and look at it with a fresh pair of eyes. Sticking with this time management tips for students, I'd say use techniques that match your learning style. You will know how you learn best, and we're going to talk about learning styles in the next couple of slides, but make sure that you are tailoring and making sure that your independent learning is bespoke and matched towards how you learn best. In terms of studying in the build up for a test or your mock exams or the GCSE summer exams, don't cram it in the night before. Little often is the best approach. There's lots of research to suggest that. Okay. And then all you need to do, so if you revise on a Monday night, on the Tuesday morning, just have a quick skim over and just make sure that you still remember what it is you learned the night before. If you do that consistently, you know that you're cementing that knowledge. So you know that you are going to be successful within your exam or assessment in whatever subject it is that you're studying for. If you're absent for a school day, make sure you catch up. Go and see your subject teacher and say, look, I wasn't in yesterday. What did I miss? What can I do to catch up? Because I've used this example with a number of students in the year group where the last thing that I want is you're in your summer GCSE exam and you turn over to the big mark question at the back of the exam and you can't answer the question because you missed that lesson because you were ill or you weren't in school for whatever reason. So if you do miss school for whatever reason, we know there are lots of reasons why students are absent. Please go and see your subject teachers and catch up on the content that you missed. Moving on to look at study skills then. So learning styles. Three main type of learning styles, which I'm sure has been articulated to you before, but you've got visual, which is learn by seeing, auditory, which is learning by hearing, and kinesthetic, which is learning by doing. Everyone learns differently. Everyone is their own individual. Okay, so you need to make sure that you study in ways that are most helpful to you. Visual learners, kind of speaking directly to you now. Things that you can do to help cement your learning. So highlight or underline main ideas. So history textbook, there's a source that you're looking at and it's a whole page long. Go through and highlight the main points, key dates, key terms, key people. Make an outline or mind map of the main ideas. Mind maps are really, really useful tool for visual learners. To study for a test, do something you can see. Make a list. Do a drawing. Copying words, okay, so things that you can visually see, okay, and then that kind of repetition will help cement that learning. Using index cards to make flashcards, so that's where you could have, I don't know, a term, a word on one side of the card and then the definition on the other. So you look at that, you keep turning it over, then you can put them into piles of I know what these ones are, I don't know what these ones are. You can play memory games. Loads of different things you can do with flashcards. They're a really good, useful revision tool. Use a computer or draw on a dry whiteboard as you study. That can be making lists of anything that you're still not sure about, or a way of kind of illustrating in your points as well. Use your planner to write down assignments daily. Now, you're very lucky that you've got the Go for Schools tool where all your homework and independent learning is listed. But have you got somewhere else at home where you can write them down? A to-do list, and when you've done something, you can tick it off to say that you've done it. If you are a visual learner, avoid at all costs watching TV whilst you are studying. That will be a big distraction for you. You won't be focused. Even if you do look at something for a couple of minutes, and if you look up and look at that TV, the longer you look at that TV, the thing that you've just learned will be escaping from your brain. Okay, sit in a quieter space, no TV, limit the distractions around you so you can really focus on the learning that's in front of you. Auditory learners, so read aloud instead of silently. Don't sit there and just read and read and read and read. Speak aloud, repeat things back. ask, get someone to read things to you. Tape record items to study and play the information back. Recite along with the tape. So that could be listening to podcasts around a specific subject area. It could be you recording yourself, talking over your notes, and then you just listen to it with your AirPods in or your earphones in or aloud on your phone. Okay, just listening for you, if you are an auditory learner, will actually help cement that knowledge. Use music to help you learn. So put the information to a tune, or make up a song or poem. So many of you will know so many lyrics to so many songs. If you can put the learning into some kind of tune or rhythm, it will help you to understand that. It will help you to remember that. Have another person quiz you and review the information aloud as well. Okay, so that's kind of underpins everything that we've already spoken about there. Just like before, study in a quiet place with no distractions. If you're sat there and you've got the radio on, chances are you're going to be singing along to the radio instead of actually focusing on the work that you're doing. Kinesthetic learners, using objects like coins to help you understand math. Okay, trace spelling or vocabulary words. Sorry, easy for me to say. This is you simply doing. Okay, it's a practical way of learning. Use maps, globes, puzzles to study history or geography. Teach the information you must learn to someone else using a dry whiteboard or write or draw the information as well. So this is you physically doing. Okay, don't just sit there and just read quietly. Don't just listen to things. You need to actively do things, practically do things, because that's your way of learning. Have someone talk through the information with you whilst you do something more active, like I said, moving, walking around, etc. Kinesthetic learners can find it quite draining. They can fatigue quite quickly. So make sure you're taking breaks often during your study time. So this is an absolute classic example of little often. Okay, if you are a kinesthetic learner, you need to do little bits often. Do 15, 20 minutes, 5-minute break. Another 15, 20 minutes, 5-minute break. Have adults help you develop a system to stay organised. Okay, with a kinesthetic learner, it's very easy to kind of go off task and go off piece a little bit. So make sure you've got someone there to ensure that you are still working towards the intended objective, the intended goal or outcome. I've spoken about this idea of an independent learning space or a study environment already within this presentation. This is going to be one of the most important spaces for the Year 11s throughout the rest of this academic year. It's somewhere that should be comfy for them, but it shouldn't be too relaxing. Okay, things that like sitting at the dining room table is a good study space, not sitting on the sofa with a laptop in front of you on the TV. That's not the best study environment for the student. In terms of that place, so choose a place where you're able to write neatly and stay alert. Make sure it's the same place every day, because you'll make this relationship between that area of the house and studying. The last thing I want you to do is, lay on your bed with your laptop, doing your work or whatever, and then you just close the laptop, pick up the Xbox controller and do that. You need that separation within the household about where is it that I do my work, where is it that I have time to relax and do things that I enjoy doing. Needs to be light. Okay, so it needs to be a well-lit area. Again, this is why I often suggest the dining room table. Okay, normally quite a bright space. Okay, so it just allows you to focus and things like that. In terms of sound, a quieter place would be better. It's where you can't be interrupted by others, whether that's other people within the household, TV in the background, other noises, or whatever it may be, wherever it may be. Temperature, find a comfortable spot where you're not too hot or too cold. Okay, so as the winter months are coming in, if any of you have got conservatories or anything like that, it might be quite a cold place for you to go and study. So make sure it's somewhere, like I said, that you feel comfortable, but it isn't too relaxing. So have a think, where is your study spot going to be at home? Does it meet the criteria above? We have got facilities at school which we can assist the students with. We've already got the period 6s going on, but there's also space which we can help them to do some independent study after that, should they need to do it. Parents and carers, guardians, how can you help with these study skills? Okay, help your child manage time to complete assignments. You can discuss the steps needed for longer assignments, help them get started on the big assignments. It's encouragement. It's encouraging them to actually sit down and start the task. That's often the hardest thing for year 11 students. It's not actually doing the work, but it's sitting down, opening up their book and writing that first word and starting it. Help them through that process. Discuss what they actually need to do. Do they understand what they have to do? Can you help in any way? Have you got a background in that specific subject? Give them practice tests. Give them a task. Right, okay, learn that bit for the next 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to come back and quiz you. You can then go away and have a cup of tea or coffee, carry on making the dinner, watching TV, whatever it is you want to do, but help them through that process. Give them tasks. Give them mini tasks to do within their independent learning. Try and avoid allowing them to cram last minute. Okay, so again, that idea of little often. They've got a test in 2 weeks' time. 3 weeks' time, a month's time, let's start revising now, little bits, 15 minutes a night for this subject. I'm going to test you on it. Can we revisit that learning in a couple of days' time? How much of it can you remember? Review nightly what they're going to be doing the following day, what they've done that day. Talk with your child about how to take a test. So this idea about reading instructions carefully, keeping track of time when they're in the exam. Do the easy questions first. Pick up those easy marks, which they know they can do with their eyes closed. Don't spend too much time on one question. If you don't get it straight away, move on to the next one. Come back to it. Talking about assignments. Get engaged with your child's learning. Okay. Do they understand what they have to do? Do they need help in understanding the assignment? Do they have everything needed for the assignment? Does the answer make sense to them? All of these questions will get them thinking about how prepared they are for that task. Okay, last thing we want is them starting the task, realizing they haven't got the necessary equipment, and they start panicking, they become flustered because they don't think they're going to get it right, they don't think they can do it to the best of their ability, they may not remember it. Okay, so ask these kinds of questions to make sure they're prepared, they're ready, they're calm, they're focused on what it is they need to do. This is a big one for me. As head of year, I'm having a growing number of conversations with students which are putting too much pressure on themselves. Okay, a lot of students in year 11 are becoming very, very frustrated when they don't understand something. They don't get 10 out of 10 on a quiz or whatever it may be. Watch out for that frustration. Okay, things will be fine. If you see your child and you know your child better than anyone else, if you see them getting frustrated, just give them 5 minutes. Say, look, go and have a drink. Go and do what you need to do for 5 minutes. Come back and we'll have another go at it. Praise and encourage is massive. It's something that I'm doing. A lot of students that come and see me and say, I'm not sure how successful I'm going to be in year 11. I'm not sure what grades I'm going to get. I really want to go to sixth form, but I'm not sure I'll get in. And then they look at their go for schools and you see their attainment and their predicted grades, their current working grades, that they're more than good enough for them to get into sixth form. Okay, our students and your children are extremely able and extremely capable. Give them that praise, give them that encouragement that they can do it. Because sometimes they don't believe in themselves, so we've got to believe in them and let them know that to give them the motivation that they need. Homework's a massive part of year 11 and at St Ivo in terms of cementing that learning away from the classroom. What is the purpose of homework though? A lot of students have said to me across the years, but why do we do homework? What's the point in it? We learn at school, why do we need to do it at home as well? It's a way of reviewing and practicing what was taught. It could prepare for the next lesson. It could allow you the opportunity to learn how to use different resources, whether that's going into a library, independently researching on the internet via websites, how to use textbooks and look for references or whatever it may be. The big thing is this though, given the stage they're at in their education, so exploring subjects further than class time permits. There are lots of GCSE programs at school where it is very, very tight time frame to fit all the content in. History, geography, PE, the course content. There's a lot of it, and to fit it all in within the lesson time, which is allowed, is a challenge. So sometimes it actually gives you the opportunity to go and delve deeper into whatever it is that you're learning. Applying skills learned to new situations. That's there's different ways, there's different levels and tiers of understanding. But if you can learn it in a class and you can do it in that environment, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can do it independently, or you could teach someone else, or you could display that information in a different way. So it just ensures and cements that learning moving forward. Integrating different skills learning into a single task. Okay, so that could be producing a learning resource on something, whether that's a project or putting a report together, writing an essay. That's more than just the actual learning for that content or that specific subject. You're working on and developing a wide range of skills there. It allows you to work independently, which is a massive skill going forward, especially for those students who want to go into kind of further and higher education, and those people that want to get into the world of work. Having the ability to work independently is a life skill, and it's an essential life skill. It encourages you to have self-discipline and taking responsibility for your own actions, and that idea of accountability. And it provides opportunities for increased communication. So it provides another opportunity for you to say or realise, hang on, I don't completely understand this. I may need to have a conversation with my subject teacher to kind of revisit it and go over it again. Homework tips for parents. Okay, we've got a number of tips here. So help your child choose a homework drop spot for completed homework. Guide them to always put completed assignments in the same spot. This could be their bag ready for the following day. This could visually or mentally just give them that reassurance that they are on top of their work. If they have a completed homework pile and they see that stacking up, that will give them the motivation. You know what, I can do this. I am motivated to keep working hard and keep doing the next thing. Okay, so making sure that their independent working space is organised. Okay, they know what tasks they have outstanding, what tasks they have completed as well. That study area, have your children do the homework in the same spot every night, as we've already mentioned. Create a homework survival kit, so keeping all the supplies in the study spot. You know, in lessons, you get, so I haven't got a pen, so I haven't got this, I haven't got that. Make sure that all the equipment is there and is accessible and ready for them to use. There's a list of resources or equipment that you could need. I'm not going to read through all those for you. Schedule daily homework times. That's the same time each night. Be sure all other activities stop at this time. So this comes on to what I was saying about ensuring that there is that school life balance for the students. So allowing them the opportunity to still go to football training or dance class or drama club or whatever, scouts, whatever interest they have outside of school. Let's factor that in to their homework, to their school life as well. Because if it's all school, and they don't have the opportunity to have that release and that enjoyable commitment which they have away from school, they're going to end up resenting it. Okay, so make sure their week is balanced. When they get home, have they got time to have a drink? Can they just wind down for half an hour before they start their learning? Have a break for dinner, then do their evening activity, maybe do a little bit more in the evening. Okay, that's going to be independent for each student, but getting that balance right is absolutely crucial. Allow your child to let you know when homework is too frustrating. Okay, so like I said, you know your child better than anyone else. You will see when they're generally frustrated and when they're being lazy. Okay, so engaging that process with them will give you a much better understanding and a much more accurate picture around that. So encourage your child to do homework independently. This will teach them to develop independent skills such as how to follow directions, begin and complete a task, and manage their own time. Monitor that homework's being done and only give help if the child has shown a real effort to do the work first. We're trying to build resilience in these young people. Yes, engage in the process, but don't spoon feed them. Motivate your child with praise. Each night, praise your child about some specific accomplishment. Focus on a goal they've set. Okay, now it's one bit of praise can go a long way. Okay, recognize the achievements because GCSEs are a pressure point. They are hard. They do take a lot of stamina. They do take a lot of resilience. They do take a lot of perseverance. So let's recognize the positives and let's recognize effort like we're doing at school as well. Use a long-range planner with your child to help them successfully complete longer projects. Teach them how to break the assignment down and distribute it over the period of time given for the project. So let's say, for example, they get given an essay to write and they have 2.5 weeks to do it. Let's break it down into mini deadlines, right? So by, in 3 days time, let's make sure we've written the introduction. And then the following 3 days after that, let's make sure that we've written the first few paragraphs of kind of content that we want to cover, etc., etc. You're breaking a task up into mini deadlines for them. Making sure that they're taking the necessary breaks. So again, using that example of studying for 20 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break. Don't let your children run themselves into the ground for doing homework for 3 hours constantly with no break. They need to have a break, because otherwise the amount of learning that they will retain will be limited significantly. Make sure you're checking go for schools as well, and that homework is limited to the amount of time that the task is suggested. So if a task says it should take them half an hour and they're still doing it 45 minutes later, just get them to stop. Get them to stop, take a break, maybe revisit it later, okay, but try and keep them to those timeframes for the tasks that are set. Again, this idea of resilience, so don't give your child more than a few answers on any assignment. Okay, because what will happen is they'll get used to, if I can't do it first time, I'll ask whoever's at home, they'll give me the answer, job done. Okay, so make sure that they're really working at it. There is that resilience. Can you question around how they could go about researching it further? Maybe ask them questions in a slightly different way around the subject matter and whatever it may be, but please don't just give them the answer straight away. Make sure that you're in regular dialogue with subject teachers if the child is struggling with that specific homework. If you want to arrange for private tutoring away from the period 6, then that's obviously something that you're more than welcome to do. But the period 6 provision that we put in place for this year is brilliant. I've been walking around lessons and seeing the student engagement in there has been really positive. And from speaking to subject staff as well, they're seeing a real improvement in the students' capabilities within that subject. Homework can not only be frustrating for the student, but can also be frustrating for you as a parent. Okay, so take a step back if you feel yourself losing your temper or patience, or trying to get the student to sit down and complete that homework. Don't let your frustration make your child feel incapable for not understanding the work, or if they're simply not going to engage. Do what you can, but ultimately they're young people. They need to show the resilience. They need to have the accountability for completing their own studies as well. Okay, so homework summary. Show that you think education and homework are important. Monitor the work that they're doing and what work they have outstanding. Provide guidance for them and support, and talk with the teachers to resolve problems. A lot of the common problems we have around homework are as follows. What to do when? How do they prioritise work? Children do not do their best work. They rush through their homework because they want to get on the Xbox or they want to go out to football training. Children refusing to do homework, don't see the point in it, don't see the value in it. Children fail to bring their assignments home and all the necessary resources. Children take all night to finish homework. Children will not do homework on their own. Children wait until the last minute to finish their assignments. Children will not do homework if parents are not home. Now, I'm sure all of you are sat there thinking, or can remember a time where one of these factors has happened within your household. Work with us to help resolve these issues. Okay, so talk with subject teachers as early as possible as you can within the school to kind of nip these problems in the bud. Contact the subject teacher directly as soon as you suspect a problem, or there may be an issue which could be arising or is already there, which has been articulated to you from your child. Request a meeting with the teacher, discuss concerns, explain what you think is going on. That could be something that's subject specific, or if it's something that's happening generally across the board, then you can get in contact with me as well. Let the teacher know if the independent learning is too easy or too hard for them. We want the students to be stretched, but we don't want it to be overwhelming. If it's too easy, they're going to become unmotivated. If it's too hard, they're going to feel overwhelmed and they're going to close up. They're going to feel as though they can't do it. Okay, so let the teacher know if the level of challenge is suitable for your child. Work out ways to solve or lessen the problem. Now that could be through time management. I've got 10 bits of homework. What do I do? I've got my mocks in X amount of weeks. How do I start revising? Which one do I do first? Keep communications open and clear. If there are problems, if there are issues arising, please let us know as soon as possible, because then we can address it and we can action it. Follow up to make sure the plan you set up is working. Telling the teachers when you have concerns. So like we said there, if your child is refusing to do homework, if you feel that the instructions of the task are unclear, you can't help the child get organised to finish their assignments, you can't provide the needed supplies or materials, can't understand the purpose of assignments. Like I said previously, the assignments are too hard or too easy. If homework is assigned in uneven amounts, so you get no homework on Monday and on Tuesday you get 4 bits of homework out of 5 lessons. If your child has missed school and has assignments to make up. Okay, so those are all the sorts of things that I want you to get in contact with us about. We want to help your child be the biggest success that they possibly can be. I had an assembly with them at the start of the year, and I have this picture in my head of giving your child their brown envelope on GCSE results day. They open it up, they open up the bit of paper, and their face glows because they know that they're going to where they want to be for post-16 education, whether that's, sixth form, college, whatever it may be. Okay, we've got a really good opportunity to now to put all of these things in place to allow that to become a reality. If there are any questions about anything that I've said, then please do get in contact with me at max.dominy@australiastivo.org. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And like I say, just let me know. Thanks for your time, and I hope you enjoy the other presentations.